If you're like most entrepreneurs, you probably have asked yourself one of these questions. How do I get better leads? But not just how do I get better leads, you want to figure out what is the best way to get these leads. And maybe you're like me, where I used to think, gosh, I'm spending so much money on ads and these leads just aren't that good. They're pretty shitty. Or, gosh, I'm spending so much time trying to create this lead magnet, this video training, this webinar, and then only a few people are signing up. Or, gosh, I'm doing all of these different things, and yet none of these leads seem to actually convert. They just get the freebie and then they leave, but they don't ever invest at the next level. And I want to break down exactly how I used a book to replace my entire lead gen strategy and how it not only saves me time, but it makes me exponentially more money. And that's what I hope to share with you right now. And so I want to break down, here's how a lot of entrepreneurs currently try to get leads. Now, there's a lot of different ways and a lot of people have things that have worked. But here's what I've noticed for a lot of people who want to get more leads to grow their coaching, their service-based business, their agency business, their speaking business, or a professional services business. What happens is they run ads to a landing page and they give a PDF or a video series. That's great, but it could often cost you $10 to $50 to acquire a lead, not to mention a qualified lead, not to mention what it costs to actually get a booked call. Right? You want to know the metrics of what you're actually trying to achieve. But a lot of entrepreneurs, they run ads. They think ads will solve their problem. They don't have to show up. They can just click press, publish, and their ads run, and then they get leads. The problem is those leads aren't often qualified. You might not have a clear sales funnel, and people don't know what to do next. Another thing that a lot of entrepreneurs do, and I was surprised to hear this because I've been a part of many masterminds of people doing multiple millions of dollars a year in sales, and several of them, when it comes to marketing, they're like, what are you doing for ads? Or what are you doing for leads? And they go, well, I'm just kind of waiting around for my next referral. And I was like, no way. You don't have any way to just generate leads regularly? And they were like, no, I don't. And so this is what a lot of entrepreneurs do, is they hope and pray that somebody's going to send them a referral because they're just doing great work. And they're posting all this content and they're just waiting for somebody to refer them or to come inbound and find them randomly. And the other thing that I see a lot of entrepreneurs doing, and I was very guilty of this early on in my career, is you just offer a bunch of different random lead magnets and hope one of them sticks. So you spend all this time developing these lead magnets, you put them out there, and then you get 2, you get 3, you get 4, you get 5 people to do it. And while yes, those are leads and they could be really great, it's a lot of work for what feels like a little return, okay? Now let's talk about some of the problems that could come with this. If you're running ads costs can go up or down. They can be very fluctuating. So sometimes it can be really hard to create a predictable system, especially if you're not spending a ton of money on ads per month, right? If you're not spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month on ads, and everyone's got a different strategy, I know, I've tested it at various different levels, but if you're typically not spending several thousands of dollars a month in ads for a 5-6 month testing period, then you're probably not going to be able to figure out exactly what's working. You're not going to get the right materials, the right metrics to really understand what's going on. The other thing that a lot of people face is the challenge of time. You spend all this time trying to come up with these different lead magnets, create the lead magnet, think of the lead magnet, build out the web pages for it, create the sales funnel for it, and you're doing this over and over and over and over again. And the problem with that is that this can take you a very, very long time, and you might spend all this time and energy only to get random people signing up just to get your freebie. And so what we really want to focus on is how do we actually just eliminate all the unknown and how to create something one time that allows you to benefit over and over and over again. And so what if there was this asset that you could build once and you can use it indefinitely? You could use it over and over and over again for as long as you were teaching something similar to that topic. Okay? And this doesn't require ad spend. It doesn't require a bunch of follow-up sequences. It doesn't require a bunch of pitching. It just requires you to do it right. And that's the power of creating a book. Because when you do a book correctly once, it can replace your entire lead gen strategy. And I'm going to explain how. But ultimately, once you have a book, you can now use that book for years and years and years. My book, Big Idea to Bestseller, that is my #1 lead magnet. We give books away every single day, every single month, and those books in return create word of mouth referrals. Those create leads from inside the book. I'm going to show you how. Those create partnerships. Those create actual results. Those create more credibility, and all of that funds itself to getting more leads, getting more qualified leads, and ultimately getting more sales. All right. Now, something I want to mention is I love the data. So what's your goal? How much money a month do you want to make? What's your average monthly ticket price? Based on that, you could reverse engineer how many clients you need, and then you can start to think about, well, how many people need what you have? And so if you want to make 20 grand a month and you offer something that is 5 grand a month, you need 4 clients. 4 clients. Imagine if you just had a book and you gave it to 400 people. Do you not think 400 people who had your book would not just immediately want to sign up with you? That's right, they would. Okay, and we see this over and over and over again because the book solidifies you as the expert. But let's talk about really how it replaces the lead gen strategy and how it will save you a bunch of time, because this is my favorite part to talk about. So a book can be used in many different ways. I believe it's one of the most versatile marketing assets that you can have in your toolbox, not just because of the lead flow, because it can do so many other things on top of it. Again, you do the work once and then you benefit years and years and years. Now, the coolest thing about this is that when you actually create a book, because it's a book, you're putting in your best material, your best content. You're sharing your expertise. You're sharing your experience. And this is what's so cool about this, because you can break it up in a bunch of different ways. You have 150, 200 pages of your best stories, content, materials, tactics, framework. And that is so special, because now you could take that book and then you can use it in a bunch of different ways. So let me give you a couple different ways that you can give lead magnets from your book that have different values in the perceived minds of your buyers. Okay. So throughout your book, what you can do is you can actually put free resources in it. This is really great, because then if someone's reading your book and they want more, you could be like, oh, and download the script here. Or you could send them to get more resources. This is really effective, because not only can you generate more leads, but what you can do is anybody who gets a lead or who signs up from your book means they've read the book and they're interested in what you have to offer. Those are really great leads to get. Another way you could use the book is you can give a chapter, sometimes in the pre-launch process. Sometimes if you just want to get people to get excited about, hey, I want to give you a chapter of my new book, my upcoming book, my best-selling book, whatever it is. You can give the whole book away. You can give the ebook away. You can give the paperback version away. So I do this all the time. I have links where I have, here's to get a free PDF of the book. Here's where to get a free paperback of the book. We also have free plus shipping funnels that help liquidate ad costs, that help increase the average order value. There's a lot of ways that you can do it. Again, this is all from one book. Okay, you can give the audiobook. If you have an audiobook version of that, you can give that for free. You can create mini checklists, mini templates from the book content and then give that away. You can take a 3-step process that you share in one of your chapters and turn that into a mini video series. Boom. Now you've already done all the work, so you don't have to spend more time coming up with it. You just have to choose how you want to use it based on the audience you serve and what it is that your actual objective is. So look, you have a book, you give free resources, you give a chapter, you give the PDF, you give the paperback, you give the audiobook, you create mini checklists, mini templates, video series. All of these are great lead magnets that come from your best content, while also gives you the chance to have an actual book that people see as a really credible thing. All right, so that's really powerful. Let's talk about how much this can cost, though. Because you might be saying, okay, Jake, like, this is great, but I can get cheaper leads here. Well, let me explain. Oftentimes when I run paid ads, I'm trying to get leads for $10, $15, $20, qualified leads, $30, $40, $50. I'm stoked for a qualified lead under $100. I know what our system is. I know what our metrics are. That totally works for what we're trying to do. But here's where a book is so powerful. As an author, I can buy what's called author copies of my books. This is where I can pay for the print cost of the book and I can get them shipped to me directly. My book, Big Idea to Bestseller, costs $3.43 for me to get. My PDF is absolutely free because I have it and I own the rights. Because I'm a self-published author, a professionally self-published author, I own the rights and I can use my book however I want. I don't have a publisher that I have to give royalties to. I don't have to give up a percentage of my earnings. I have all the control. And so for me, I can get a book for $3.43. So if I want to give away my book in exchange for an email address, I can do that and I can get a lead for $3.43. So when I go speak at events, when I go to networking events, whenever I'm going anywhere where I could potentially meet someone who could become a lead, I'm giving away my book for free. That's getting a lead for $3.43 of likely someone who's pretty qualified. Because if I'm willing to part with a book, right, that person is likely going to be in my wheelhouse. Okay. The next thing here is you can give away the PDF. That costs you $0. You can get literally free leads just by giving somebody a free PDF copy of your book. Some people are like, well, Jake, I work so hard on my book. I want to get paid all this money. Focus on the $7,000 client, not the $7 royalty. All right. Now remember, this video is about how a book replaced my lead generation strategy so I could save a lot more time and get better leads. And that's what we're talking about here. Here's another way that you can actually get $1 leads. And this is a really fun one. Is once you have a book, you can make your Kindle version 99 cents online. Now, anybody who wants a free copy, you can say, hey, I'm giving away 20 free copies of my book. And they say, I'm interested. You get their email and then you buy the book for them as a gift for 99 cents. You input their email address, which they gave to you. You input their email address and Amazon will send the book directly to them so they can access it however they prefer to read rather than just getting the digital PDF. This is a major, major hack if you're an author. So I want to share that with you because it's so important. And then giving books away at events. One of my favorite ways to generate leads is I go to events and I give books to the VIP swag bags. And typically there's 30, 40, 50, 100 of those people. And those people are the ones that have invested the most to be there, are the highest priority, the people who are most likely to invest after. And now I get those leads and I can follow up with them directly, all because I was willing to give my book, which was, again, $3.43. Okay? So this is the power of having a book and how it can just generate you not only really qualified leads, but it can generate you cheap leads. And this is something that I think goes so often overlooked. Because we're willing to spend $5,000 a month on ads to test if it'll work. Well, if you spent $5,000 a month, you could give away 1,000 books. If you gave away 1,000 books, do you think that's better than guessing on Facebook ads? Yeah, of course. This is part of the reframe that I'm really trying to showcase here. So here's the gap. All right, here's the gap. When you get leads the old way, you're going to have to sift through all the freebie seekers and the people who like your marketing tagline, like what you had to say on the ad, stop their attention for a second, but they never really have any intention of doing anything. We've all downloaded things that we've seen online, training series, video series, PDFs. We've all downloaded those things and we've never looked at it again. We're like, oh, this is so great. I'll come back to it later. And you don't. But, excuse me, oh my gosh. But if you have a book, somebody's going to look at it, whether they read it or not. They're going to have it on their desk. They're going to have it on their nightstand. Or they're actually going to read it and they're going to really learn all about you, your philosophy, your personality, your expertise. And this is why a book is so much more powerful than anything else. Okay? The other thing that's really important to note is oftentimes a PDF or a video series, as good as it may be, okay, as good as it may be, it often allows the reader or the person who has downloaded that, the prospect, to be like, okay, this person's good. Let me see what else they have to offer. But when they read your book, if they complete your book, they've spent 2 to 3 hours with you. They're bought into your concepts. They're bought into your personality. They're going to want to take the next level. And so a book pre-qualifies people, pre-sells people at a level that no other asset can do, no other lead source can do. And that is the secret sauce. So now, not only have we talked about how to do it, how many ways you could use the book for leads, how cheap you can get leads from this, but now you can also talk about the compounding effect because you have an actual book. So not only are you getting leads, but every time someone searches your book, there's a chance they could become a lead. Every time somebody hears about your name, they're going to funnel back to you from your book. If you look at some of the biggest names in the online entrepreneur space, if you look at some of the biggest names in your respective industry, they probably have a book. And they use that book as the entry point into their world, whether it's free, $10, $15. They use that as the entry point to their world to save themselves a lot of time from answering FAQs, but they use that to then help you ascend through their adventure because they know that a book is the thing that can get you in the door and it is a low risk thing because now that it's already done. On top of that, every single day that goes on, people talk about your book, people talk about your book, people talk about your book. Nobody talks about, oh my gosh, you got to check out this PDF. You got to check out this 10-minute training I listened to. No, but people recommend books all day long. And this is how you can get more and more and more traffic, more and more visibility, more and more leads. The more you're out there, the more your name gets out there. Now the book is working for you while you're in one singular place. And this is how it's really, really powerful. So I'm going to give you the final piece here that I want to share, which is something that a lot of people say to me when they say, okay, Jake, I want to write a book, but like, I want the leads now. And I'm like, okay, great, let's do it. There are 3 different phases where you generate leads from your book. You have the working on the book pre-launch phase, you have the launch phase, and you have the post-launch phase. The minute you say, I'm writing a book, and you announce it to your people, you can start generating leads from your book. And that's one of the things that so many people miss out on, but the people who do it right make tens of thousands of dollars during the book creation process. You make an announcement and you document the journey. I'm writing a book. I just wrote my rough draft. I just got my cover design. I did these things. Then you ask people. You put in your polls in your story. You make posts about it. You say, hey, I'm writing a book on this. What are you most interested in learning about? If they respond or they comment, not only do you get feedback, but now you know that person's interested in the topic that you're doing, which is often the thing that you sell. That's pre-launching. That's why you're doing the book. Then when you launch the book, you run special promotions. You give them exclusive access to you. And you really open the door to get people through your funnel. And then lastly is post-launch and forever beyond that. This is what I was talking about earlier, how you get that compounding interest. You get that compounding effect. All right. And so this is how a book replaced my lead generation strategy. I don't really create a ton of other things anymore unless it's built on the back end of a book. So if I create a video series, it's built on the material in my book to then help give somebody something in a different way. But I use my book as my number 1 lead generation strategy. I give my books for free in the PDF and the paperback format. It costs me $0 to $5 maximum to be able to do this. I give these to partners, prospects. I give these at events. I give these all over the place because the more people that have my book, the more they're either going to share it with someone, the more they're going to hold it and think about it for when the timing's right, or the more they're going to take action and eventually want to hire me. And this is how I have found to have the best converting marketing asset that also doesn't cost me a ton of money. And so I think that that's something really, really powerful. And so I hope that as you've listened to this, you could see maybe if you focus your effort on a book, not only can it replace your lead generation strategy, but it can actually help you be more credible, get more stages, get more clients, get more partners, get more referrals, have more social content created, and ultimately save you more time. So there you have it. That is how a book replaced my lead generation strategy. And in the spirit of this, if you want a free copy of my book, you can go to bigideabestseller.com/free-book. It's linked down below. And full transparency, you can see how I give away my book and how we have one free plus shipping funnel. This is a free plus shipping funnel. I'll give you my book, you cover the shipping, and we'll mail it directly to you. All right, this is really, really cool. And the other side is if you are like, okay, I'm ready to write this book, but I need a game plan. Then book a demo with our team completely free, and we'll walk you through exactly how to optimize your book, how to create your book for your actual business objectives. And you can do that at bigideabestseller.com/call. So there you have it. This is how a book replaced my entire lead generation strategy. Have fun with this, and I can't wait to see your book top the charts.